Welcome to Yap.
Thank you so much for having me. Are we live? Are we recording now?
Yeah, we're recording now.
Oh my gosh, what a pleasure it is to be here. Thanks so much for having me, Mads.
Well, I'm not even doing anything. I'm just here as you are.
Yeah, this is true. But I feel like you're, as Abdel says, you're definitely a podcast, or at least an audio recording veteran compared to me. I think I'm a bit of a bit part player when it comes to these yaps in the morning. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me, at least, put it that way.
You got to put like a voice on, don't you?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's been something like that. Anyway, how are you going?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's Friday. I'm feeling happy. I've got my Flight Coffee instant in front of me. I think they're sponsoring us soon, hopefully, for some free coffees. I've just decided.
I love that. It wasn't even the blatant, oh, yes, Flight. It's so good. It's so great. It's like, I hope they sponsor us because I just name dropped them.
Nah, it's good. They've got bougie instant coffee, which I appreciate. And you've got something from Macca's there. What have you got?
Oh, I got a nice chocolate.
Oh, treat yourself.
Yeah, I do you know what? I woke up this morning and I went, I will be a grumpy bitch if I don't have something in my stomach.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And I wasn't running late, but I knew I wouldn't have time to have my cereal that's usually outside my desk.
Okay,
So I was like, I have to go through Macca's and just get something quick.
Wait, hang on, educate me. What is the difference between a nice chocolate and a chocolate shake?
Chocolate shake, I'm pretty sure, has like more milk. It's like made differently.
Okay.
You know, like how, this is a McFlurry, but it's different to it because McFlurries nowadays are made how they were meant to be made.
Right, okay.
So McFlurries, you'd have your cookies or whatever, M&Ms, you'd have the sauce, you'd put the spoon in, right?
Yeah.
And it would be attached to this machine and it would go...
Right, yes.
Kind of like a Dairy Queen in America.
Yes, I'm with you. Exactly this, yeah.
And that was like a McFlurry. It's kind of like that with a milkshake.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
I do, yeah, okay, yeah.
So it like zhuzhes it up. And maybe, I'm pretty sure it's more cream and maybe ice cream in a milkshake as well you can do.
Okay.
Unless it's a thick shake, and I could be very, very wrong, but I'm pretty sure one of them has ice in it as well.
Right, so
There's different components.
I'm with you. So essentially this is a bit of the consistency is a bit thinner. It's a bit easier to consume early in the morning.
It's literally a hot chocolate with ice.
Oh, okay. There we go. That's the kicker. Right. I'm with you. I've got it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe, I'm going to try an iced chocolate over the weekend and I want to get back to you about it and let you know how I get on.
Don't try that one. It was bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you mean your specific one there? What do you
that
mean?
One right there, just milk.
Oh, really?
Barely gave me any chocolate. Oh. And I'm a chocolate fiend. I was like, where is my chocolate?
Me too.
Right.
What's your favourite chocolate ever?
What's my favourite chocolate?
Yeah.
Well, that's a question.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? It was my 16th birthday.
Oh, I love it already. Go on.
My friend Kyle had this present for me, and I was like, "Oh, thanks, Kyle. That's so nice to give me a present. That's so lovely." I opened it up, and it was a piece of, it was a block of Lindt chocolate, just the milk chocolate, and I had never tried Lindt chocolate, right? So I saw it, and I went, "Oh, that's so nice." Whatever. I put one in my mouth, like I don't know, a few days after, and I went, "This is the best chocolate I've ever had in my life." And no shit, I honestly, like throughout uni, it was I'd pay $6 for a block.
Oh, yeah.
That was like yay big because it was just so good.
Are we talking regular Lindt, the extra creamy one, or what are we talking?
Oh, just the red.
Oh, the red, yeah.
That's the normal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. They're the sort of red, the truffly sort of kind, yeah.
Yes, and you like put in your mouth and
great
just like let it seep in. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off topic.
I'm actually salivating now.
I know, it's terrible. I'm so sorry. Anyway, on Yap, we're going to be talking about rebranding.
Yes, we are. It's an exciting one. We've got a little bit of discussion to have about is rebranding enough? Or?
Sometimes, we talk about, well, a lot of brands and companies, they think, oh, we've got to rebrand. Like if you think of Jaguar.
Yes. Oh, well, that's a huge one, isn't it?
Like, people think they need a rebrand to up the ante, when really, do we actually need to do that?
I think, do you know what? It's an interesting one because for me, it's always like, okay, pardon the pun, what drives the, that was awful. Sorry, guys. Jesus. What drives the need for a rebrand? And I think the Jaguar one was quite interesting because, as I understand it, the Land Rover section of the business is the only part that was actually keeping it profitable. So apparently the Jaguar side of things was plummeting. So I think it was a kind of a last throw of the dice.
Right.
They were like, look, we can keep Jaguar going because of Land Rover, but we may as well either try something radical to turn it profitable or lose it. Now, I'm not that across what they actually did, but what I am across is that I'm in a WhatsApp group with my dad and some of his friends. It's like all football related, and oh my gosh, I mean, my dad's a wonderful man, but like some of the blokes in that group, so work, Jaguar, go work, go broke, and I'm like, oh guys, let's all just breathe. Like, come on. So I thought to myself, if it's riling up like bald old white men, then they're probably doing something right. So you never know.
No, yeah, there's actually I do like it, but I mean I have a bit of a problem with the whole Jaguar thing, but I mean, you know, maybe it's just because I enjoy things that are classic. Like keep with it. Like that's the luxury of your brand, is to keep it classic and making sure that that brand stays relevant, or not relevant, but has that kind of hierarchy over other new brands that come in. Because if someone was like, "Hey, I've got a Mustang," you're like, "Oh, a Mustang." I don't want to see a stupid label other than what the Mustang label is now. You know, like I don't want to see a rebrand of that. Like Harley Davidson.
Oh,
imagine if they rebranded to something like Jaguar did.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
No, do you know what? You've hit on a really good point there, because I think essentially it's about legacy, isn't it, really? And it's about heritage and provenance and all these things where actually you spent so many years, decades, sometimes even centuries building up this brand just to completely pull the rug from underneath it. So I think I get it. Like I do get the idea of, hey, we're not doing well, we may as well just throw enough crap at a wall, see what sticks. But there's a difference between doing that and just saying, you know what, we're going to pull the rug from under everything, because as well, it wouldn't have been cheap, right, to rebrand. These things are expensive.
They are, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a big risk. And also, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a real big sorry, I'm going to go my microphone now. There's a real big thing with minimalism now, like logos that are changing, like the one that, like the Pringles logo. Like I used to think that was quite a cool idea, and now it's just like a circle with like a faint moustache. It's like a smile. It's like a little drawn-on smiley face.
People aren't having fun with their brands anymore.
They're not.
It really irks me, because I think they're just trying to appeal to that whole. I don't know. Maybe is it a Gen Z thing of people wanting, you know, more simple logos, and just maybe are we just simple beings that just want things that are
this is it. Like,
easy to read?
What are people trying to say? Like, I think I understand, like, you know, they want things to look clean and whatever, but you look at kind of like the signs in the 20th century of like above shops or whatever, and a lot of the
gorgeous,
so lovely. A lot of the towns
carved in the buildings, you know,
literally this, right? And this is it's a big thing in the UK. I think I've seen it in New Zealand as well, where they've just left it from like, you know, 60, 70 years ago, and you look at it and you're like, God, everything just looked a bit more colourful back then, I think. It's got
that charm.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's to do with, personally, because obviously the way we consume things is on this little rectangle in our pocket. So if there's, you know, too much going on there, it might look a bit jarring and a bit overwhelming.
True.
Whereas when we're looking up at buildings, they want to catch our eyes more. So I guess, you know, psychologically I do understand it, but just a bit of a shame, really, isn't it?
It is. But like, I mean, we can talk about other brands that, you know, they didn't necessarily have a rebrand. One, because of that whole heritage thing. They don't want to take away that classic, especially because a lot of these brands have been around for ages. But you can think, I mean, in recent years, if we think about the Barbie movie, you know, technically that is a rebranding of some sort, and it was through a whole different platform that, yes, they've done before, but in a completely different way. And it wasn't necessarily something that they came up with. It was an idea, and then it just like happened to help their brand out, obviously, like, do you know what I mean? Like, there was completely a different way of doing it, and they didn't have to rebrand. It was just, hey, here's something extra.
And look what happens.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
And the whole reason people would, like, I mean, I cried in the movie, but the whole reason why it was so successful was because of that nostalgia aspect.
Yeah, completely.
And they had that, like I said, Barbie is literally a legend. Like, gonna go down in history as like the biggest doll in the world, you know.
Shout out Barbie. She's
Shout
awesome.
out Barbie.
Shout out Barbie.
And Ken.
And Ken, of course.
Yeah, sorry, Ken. But you know what I mean? Yeah,
it's completely right. You're completely right.
She has a brand. Like, why would you change that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think when you have that brand power, like we say, it's something that you've spent so long crafting. And also, it's like, brand is something that you represent when you work for them. So really, you're kind of dictating it's going to sound so bizarre, but when you have a career and you say like I work for Jaguar or whatever, that comes with it a certain air of prestige and a certain air of, you know, a wonderful heritage. But then now I think everyone who works them, well, I hate to say it, not in my personal opinion, but they've become a bit of a laughing stock. Do you know what I mean? Like I think it's not only you know, the brand itself that's out there, but it's the people who represent that brand that then have to take on a completely different form. So yeah, it's a really, really interesting one. I think sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I think I understand it if it's a last roll of a dice, but other than that, I think sometimes if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
you know
I agree.
what I mean? Yeah,
I do feel bad for the people that love the brand, that work for the brand, yet it's the higher uppers that decide these things, and they don't actually think about these things.
Yeah,
they just think about the money.
Yeah, of course.
Which is a shame.
Money talks, and it's never. But it's like it's the age-old thing, isn't it? Like when you go into, whether you're going to an airport, whether you're going to I don't know, McDonald's, for example. If something goes wrong, it's the person on the front that like suffers, that has to like deal with the crap from the public. But those in their cozy boardroom never have to deal with anything.
Well, and I think it's sad. I do feel for the people that love the brand, want to represent the brand, and then something changes, and then that's gone, you know?
This is it. But that being said, let's check back in 12 months and see how that bottom line is doing, because if the sales somehow go up, then we'll be eating our words. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Yeah.
Well, okay, let's talk about a brand or... Well, I don't even know. Are they a brand? A phenomenon that... hasn't really needed a rebrand, or and in some ways hasn't needed a rebranding, but has done things to keep relevant, but still have that nostalgia aspect. And I think that's Pokemon.
Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Was Pokemon a big part of your life, Mads?
Oh, yes, it was.
Me too.
It currently still is, actually.
Yeah, nice.
I rewatched the Pokemon Indigo series.
No way.
Yes.
Wait, so you're a bit of a Pokemonster then?
Okay, whoa. I'm not a big Pokemon like fiend.
Okay.
I enjoy cartoons.
Okay, I rate that. Me too.
Yeah, so I also grew up watching Pokemon, obviously.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like took over my life.
Yeah,
I didn't actually get onto Pokemon Go either.
No, I
think I just didn't like the fact that I was like, I had to find them all, and I just knew I'd get addicted to it, and it would turn into a shit show.
Oh, I remember it was right after I graduated uni. It was 2016, and I was walking around. I was living. Long story. I was living away from London in the UK, and I remember walking around like sort of like, oh, I'll give this a go, and then I just saw like hordes of teenagers being like, oh, there's a Ghastly on King Street, and I was like, yeah, this is not me. What am I doing? I think I was like 24 at the time. I was like, no.
Try being in Invercargill, and it was
oh my god,
barely anything around. No, I agree. I think Pokemon's been around for God. How long has Pokemon been around for?
Well, definitely. Do you know what? Actually, this is so sad, right? This is so sad. But basically, a lot of my family are from the US. All my mum's side family live in New York. Yep. And when I would have been, gosh, we're talking late 90s, right? So 1999, 2000, or 6 or 7, I was. My auntie from the US came over, right, and just to stay with us for like a week, and she brought a pack of Pokemon cards, and I was like, what's this? Like, this is interesting. So opened them, looked at them, she explained them to me. I remember I got Jolteon in my first pack, rare, the electric or the fire little thing. Who knows? Anyway, and I remember distinctly, right? Literally that week, there was like, I obviously took them to school. Everyone was like crowding around me. Yeah. There was things on the news about Pokemon. The Pokemon series was there. And I, as a 6 or 7 year old, Maddie, I was convinced, like utterly convinced that I had brought Pokemon to the UK. Because I was like, my auntie Catherine gave me these cards. Like, it's what have I done? What have I done? I was convinced.
I've created this phenomenon.
Literally, I was like, you're welcome, guys. But yeah, then it just absolutely spiraled.
Oh, wow.
But you know what? And this is my question to you. Did you ever play the Game Boy games of Pokemon? Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Silver, Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue.
Do you know what? Yeah. So my stepdad, he loves that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Like he does. And so when I was younger, I mean, he's more into like Marvel and all of that. So he has all the Marvel cards and everything.
Okay.
And my cousins were really into Yu-Gi-Oh! So I had like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff.
I remember Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Like they had like a what was it? Like a card deck you put on your arm, and it was so sick. It was crazy. I remember when my cousins got that, and I went, what the fuck?
That's awesome. On your arm.
Yeah, like it was a whole like, you
No
know.
way.
And then anyway, you could probably use it for Pokemon. Well,
Sure,
not really, because
sure,
it's got
sure.
Pokeball, but yeah, anyway.
Oh,
You know, the cards and what was the question? Sorry, I just went off on a tangent.
the Game Boy game. Did you ever play
The
those?
Game Boy, yeah. My stepdad had one,
Okay.
and so I would play on it. But then I think I kind of, because I'm at that age, I'm 26. I kind of had a TV. I had a TV in my room. I've always had a TV in my room because I grew up pretty much as an only child in my childhood.
Sure.
So my parents didn't really know what to do with me. So I had a football and
Amazing.
a PlayStation 2. That was my life.
Living my dream, Maddie. What the hell? I don't need either of those things.
And
So, yeah.
the PlayStation, like, I guess there wasn't really Pokemon on PlayStation.
No,
it
it
wasn't
was
something that I was...
Nintendo.
Yeah, and so it was just a TV series to me, unfortunately. It wasn't like a game.
That's No, it's interesting you say that because, well. Look, the ironic thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, no one ever played the card game of Pokemon, did they? Really?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I thought. They just collect.
They just collected it, yeah.
Yeah.
But there is, I mean, I think literally once when I went to the US to see my family, I think I did play it with my cousins, and I was like, well, who cares? But for me, yes, I love the TV series, of course, big part of my life. But it was the Game Boy game that I think really what made me love it, because it was the first time that as a kid you're playing this game and you can it was escapism, pure escapism.
Yeah.
You can go so detailed into it, and funnily enough, a few years ago, this is probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I actually went on eBay and I bought like a cheap little Nintendo DS, and I got like Pokemon Gold. But I think it was a fake version, because I basically I defeated all the gym members, and before it goes on to like the next big world, the game just crapped out and then just like just completely corrupted and didn't work.
So
and
sorry.
I was really bitter for like
Yeah.
quite a while. I'm only now, just about ready to get back
Yeah.
into Pokemon. But yeah, what an amazing thing it was.
They've just, I mean, what astounds me with Pokemon is that there are still people of the age when we got into it that are still getting into it now. You know,
Yes.
Gen Zs are still getting into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like what's the word? Like that's the joy, that's the charm of Pokemon, is that it literally can just continue on.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think Pokemon Go when Pokemon Go came out, I remember being like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, I know Pokemon. Pokemon wasn't really a dead thing at that time either. Like, it just keeps continuing. I don't know how it does, but it does.
It does.
And when Pokemon Go came out, it just became this massive craze again.
Yeah.
And I think that's lovely. I think it's cool that we can
Yeah.
have a brand that can continue on through different generations and childhoods. Like, you know, how we said with Barbie, that's that nostalgia aspect. But it's cool when people can create brand or characters or a world that can transcend all these different life changes and generations, because it's like, that's so hard to keep up.
Beautifully put, Mads. I totally agree. And I think one thing I really want to pick up on is what you said is the word world there. Because to me, that's key. It's almost like you're living a second life. And I think that's the appeal of it for so many people. Like, you know, you're watching a TV series, you're seeing them like catch these Pokemon, train for like the big league thing, whatever it's called. And that's so just not real. Spoiler alert. And so, sorry guys, to dispel that myth. But you feel it, like it is pure escapism, and you're in a totally different world. And it's like, you know, obviously I've never played with Barbie dolls. Well, I say obviously, I never played with Barbie dolls as a kid, but I imagine that that's the same kind of thing. It's like this escapism. You create this world that is just separate from your own. And I think for me, that is the power of why these things do so well, because it offers almost like another version of life.
I think also when you say world, or what really stands out to me is Harry Potter. Like,
literally what I was going to bring up.
I mean,
Absolutely right.
different kind of
totally
medium,
right.
but those movies, the books, essentially, like, you know, J.K. Rowling, she actually created a whole world.
A world. This is
she
it.
had these things planned out. Everything had a purpose. Everything had a meaning. And there were characters that everyone could relate to. There was nothing about that world that discriminated against anyone.
Well, yeah. Well,
You know?
there wasn't at the time, was
well,
there?
you know,
Oh, goodness
anyway,
me.
well, you know,
No,
you know,
no.
take it back, I take it back.
You're so right, and I think it's like it allows this second life. It allows people to forget where they are. And actually, do you know what's interesting? I listened to this podcast, and one of the hosts on the podcast, he plays, bless him, to get to sleep at night. Right? There's a thing on you know on YouTube how you have like 10-hour loops.
Stop.
He
Yes.
has this thing on YouTube it emulates the Gryffindor common room.
Stop, because I when I'm studying or when I'm studying or when I'm working, sometimes I put the Hufflepuff common room on because I'm a Hufflepuff.
Okay, I see.
Look, exactly. See what I mean? Like, I know what.
No, but like I get it, and like for that, just to educate anyone who doesn't know, like the sounds. Well, actually, you'll be able to say it better than me. But as I understand it from him, it's like you have the crackling of the fire, some pitter patter of footsteps. You might hear like Ron, like a little.
In the Hufflepuff one, there's like butterflies and because it's all about greenery. And
gorgeous!
Warmth. I don't know what the Slither one runs like, but it must not be the best.
I actually, just by the way, I recently played the Hogwarts Legacy game.
That's what I'm saying. See, there's a game for it. I was actually going to mention that, but I didn't know if you would know it. But yes,
I played it. I played the hop, completed it. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I don't have a PlayStation at the moment or anything like that.
Nintendo Switch.
I watch people play the game. So I watched a good few hours of someone play Hogwarts Legacy.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, no, but it's good. I think it's like it's a bit janky at first, but once you get the broom and you can like zoom around, it's great. And I've got to say, the fight sequences are amazing. Like genuinely, it's not a perfect game, but it's pretty awesome.
But I also think Harry Potter is a good example of like as Pokemon having that legacy. They're going to. Like, I know that when I have children, they're probably going to become a Potterhead. They're probably going to be people that are really into Pokemon as well. There's just that creating that world and having that purpose for people. And it's one, it's something special. It's two, it's very rare to do. Like, It's very rare to, like, actually kick off the ground and be able to create because it's hard. Imagine creating a world and going, okay, here's a second life.
How do you do it? Yeah, it's nuts. And I think, but again, what you've hit upon, which is really interesting there, is that actually everyone has kind of like personal heartfelt stories tied to these things, like the way that you listen to Hufflepuff to like soothe you or to help you while you're working or whatever. I think of Pokemon and I think of being a kid and the long car journeys of my parents, and I'm like playing the games to keep me occupied. It's a really emotional hook in these things. There's real emotional investment from us in all of these brands that we've had. Well, dare I say, since we were our whole lives, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree.
They've really stayed with us. It's quite fascinating, really.
Yeah, I love
beautiful.
It.
Amazing.
Oh, wow.
We're almost time.
We're actually nearly done.
We're almost nearly done. I think this has been quite a wonderful format, to be honest, Matt. I've really enjoyed this. I feel like
it's lovely.
I feel like we found our rhythm quite nicely, which is great.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Agree.
I wonder if there's scope for us doing more podcasts of just.
Well, guys, if you want to see me and Curls do more podcasts on Yap or in general. Let's create our own one. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm not kidding.
Hi, Jack.
I'm not kidding.
Hi, Jack. Yeah. It's going to be yapping.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I quite like the idea, and I don't know how comfortable you'd feel with this, but before, we used to do TikTok Live when we did this.
Right.
So I'm wondering, I've not floated this to Abdel, and I don't know if I'm perhaps...
We should go on TikTok Live.
Well, this is what I mean, but I would quite like... I don't know if this is a little bit naughty, but I would quite like to do it maybe on my own TikTok. And because I used to go live all the time, and I feel like you and me doing a little podcast, and you can do the Taz TikTok as well, of course, or the Yap TikTok, but we could maybe have my phone there and do both. In which case, we could be all over people's lives. I think that would be. I meant people's live shows, not their lives. Like, we're not Pokemon and Harry Potter. We are a world. There we go. We just created a new world.
All
Unbelievable.
Right. I think we should finish up now. Thanks for yapping with us.
Hope you enjoyed as much as we did. I thought this was absolutely sensational. A big thank you to Maddie. It's been a real pleasure chatting with you this morning, Maddie.
Yeah, you too, girls. It was good.
Thank you so much.
Good chat about our childhoods.
Yeah, it really was. I feel great.
Love it.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya.